Well, well, well. Welcome back, everybody. It's Bruce with the Epic Experiment and another week, another deck tech. All right, this week we got, you're going to get a theme here where I am a big fan of Jund. So we have another Jund deck. We had Prosh just a little while ago. We're talking Thantis, the Warweaver today. Thantis is a spider, and it's 3 black, red, green for a 5/5 legendary creature spider with vigilance and reach. All creatures attack each combat if able. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, put a +1/+1 counter on Thantis the Warweaver. This one drives people crazy because it means everything sort of has to attack. No one gets to keep things down to block, or because everything's got to swing. And so it really messes up decks that are looking to hold things back or looking to hold up blockers and hold up a defensive position, because Thantis means you can't. You just gotta go. This deck has seen some evolution over time for me. It's a bracket 3 less because there is a game changer in the list. But on the whole, it's a pretty fun list that I enjoy playing it, and I think I enjoy the effect that it has on the table as we play. All right, so it's got a small theme of what to do if people are going to be attacking lots, but let's go through the deck. Okay, so we've got a whole bunch of let's just talk about the ramp first. Actually, let's do ramp because the ramp's going to be important. People do not like this commander. People don't like this commander because if you're a strategy looking to play to the board and keep creatures to block and all the rest of it, Thantis throws that all out the window. So we have a Sol Ring. All right, Sol Ring, tap it for make 2. All right, we have Sword of the Animist. 2, is an equipment. Equipped creature has +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library, and equip for 2. Since everything is attacking, you're going to be able to slap this on something and just attack. It may get blocked, but since everything's going to be attacking anyway, Sword of the Animist is a really great card. Help you ramp the game out. Emerald Medallion. Other green spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Lots of green spells in this list. Emerald Medallion is a pretty good way to get ahead on stuff. Talisman of Resilience. 2 mana for an artifact. Tap to add a colorless, or add black or green. Talisman of Resilience deals 1 damage to you. Okay. We've got a Dousing Dagger. So this is a 2 mana equipment. When Dousing Dagger enters the battlefield, target opponent gets 2/0/2 green plant creature tokens with Defender. Equipped creature gets +2/+1. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may transform Dousing Dagger and equips for 2. I like this card because when it transforms into a land. It transforms into Lost Veil. Tap to add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool. So I really like the flip it. I don't find it hard to flip in the first place, so I'm a big fan. Twitching Doll, 1 and a green for a 2/2. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. Put a nest cut counter on Twitch Doll. Tap, sacrifice Twitching Doll. Create a 2/2 green spider creature token with reach for each counter on Twitching Doll. Activate only as a sorcery. I like this as a creature that I can tap, so it doesn't actually have to attack if I don't want it to. So it seems pretty good. We have a Spring Bloom Druid, 2 and a green for a 1/1. When a Spring Bloom Druid enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a land. If you do, search your library from the 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. All right, so this is a Harrow Onyx stick, so it's pretty handy. Great way to ramp. Thunderscape Familiar, 1 and a red for a 1/1. For a strike, black spells and green spells you cast cost 1 less to play. So this is like your medallion, but now it's on a creature, and it's so very, very useful card. Cultivate. Search your library for up to 2 basic lands. Reveal those cards. Put one onto the battlefield, the other into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Classic Cultivate. We have Goblin and Narcomancer. A red and green for a 2/2. Each spell you cast that's red or green costs 1 less to cast. All right. You may notice I like these sorts of effects that allow me to cast things for cheaper. So Sylvan Scrying. So 1 and a green. Search your library for a land card. Reveal it. Put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. I like that card. We'll talk about that in a second over here with those guys. Sakura Tribe Elder, 1 and a green for a 1/1. Sacrifice Sakura Tribe Elder. Search your library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield. Tap, then shuffle your library. Okay. We have an Ignoble Hierarch. Tap to add a black, a red, or a green. And has Exalted, and it's a 0/1 for a 1. And then we have Arcane Signet. And we have Anissa, who shakes the world. So 3 green for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. Whenever you tap a forest for mana, add an additional green. So this is going to turn your green mana sources into probably twice that, because most everything is a forest. The other effects are great, but not really what I'm playing it for. Okay, that's our ramp. We have that much ramp because in this deck, Thantis is probably going to get targeted because our opponents, it really makes it hard for opponents to play through the strategy, because if you play any creatures, now they're probably having to attack unless they're mana dorks as well. We're set up to tap our creatures, all right? But anyway, now let's assume Thantis dies. What are we doing about maintaining the strategy of forcing our opponents to attack? Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into a couple of things here. First off, we have a package of goad stuff. So we have, first off, we have Coronation of Chaos. 2 in a red, sorcery, up to 3 target creatures can't block this turn, goad them. So it's just very similar to Thantis in that compels them to attack, but they can't attack you unless you and the other player, there's only one other player remaining. But they can't block, so you can get through. Now they have to attack somebody else, meaning they're probably going to get blocked and killed. Disrupt Decorum, 2 red. Goad all creatures you don't control. This is a surefire problem for anybody who's got creatures on the battlefield, and you want to let people get some creatures out. Frenzied Gorespawn, so 3 black for a 4/4 creature horror. When Frenzied Gorespawn enters the battlefield, for each opponent, goad target creature that player controls. So that's a really good way. You get something to be goaded. Agitator Ant, so 2 in a red. Insect is a 2/2. At the beginning of your end step, each player that may put 2+1/+1 counters on a creature they control. Goad each creature that had counters put on it this way. So you give them a choice. They can go and let things get goaded or not. And then we have Carter Doomscourge. So 2 red for a 4/3 legendary creature, Demon Berserker. When Carter Doomscourge enters the battlefield, until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. So again, mass goad. Whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. Good. Then we also have these abilities. We have Revenge of Ravens and Marchesa's Decree. So whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature's control loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. And then Marchesa's Decree says that we become the monarch, and whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature's controller loses 1 life. So if they're going to have to attack and they decide they're going to attack you, they're going to be pained, and it's going to make them hurt a whole lot. All right, let's talk about what other creatures are in this deck that are going to have to attack with our Thantis trigger. First off, Phylath, World Sculptor, 4 green for a 5/5. When Phylath World Sculptor enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 green plant token for each basic land you control. Landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put 4+1 counters on target plant you control. This is really good because of the Sword of the Animist and such effects. And Cultivate, you're going to get the trigger of the landfall, and you're going to make some pretty big tokens that you can attack with. You don't really feel bad if they die. We have an Inferno Titan, so 2 red for a 6/6 giant with a single red. Inferno Titan gets +1/+0 until end of turn, so that's fire breathing. And then whenever Inferno Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 creatures. All right, so if Thantis is going to make an attack, this is going to get attack triggers and is going to make sure that your opponents take some beats. All right, we also have his cousin. We have Grave Titan. So 2 black for a 6/6 giant with Death Touch. Whenever Grave Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, create 2 black zombie creature tokens. So its attacks make zombies, lots of power, lots of toughness, lots of bodies. Yes, please. Arasta of the Endless Web. So 2 green for a 3/5 legendary enchantment creature spider with reach. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. All right, making bodies, making things. We have a Gifted Aetherborn. So we have black for a 2/3 with Death Touch and Lifelink. It's an Aetherborn or vampire. With this has to attack, no one's being particularly keen to block this sort of thing because it's very, very inexpensive and just has Death Touch, making it very tricky to manage. Undermountain Adventurer, so 3 and a green for a 3/4 giant warrior with vigilance. When Undermountain Adventurer enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. Or tap to add green. If you complete a dungeon, add 6 green instead. So the fact this is a mana dork allows me to go and tap it. I like the fact that it grants me the initiative, which is a very powerful mechanic, similar to the Monarch. We have the Gitrog monster, so 3 black-green for a 6/6 with legendary creature Frog Horror with Death Touch. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice the Gitrog monster unless you sacrifice a land. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Whenever one or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card. Okay. So that's a pretty good value engine. It's going to help you churn through cards. Also, the fact that this Death Touch makes the Gitrog difficult to block. Emberwild Captain, so 3 and a red for a 4/2. When it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Whenever an opponent attacks you while you're the Monarch, Emberwild Captain deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand. So this is like a real deterrent around attacking you. So Thantis compels them to attack, but if they have to, now they're going to take some damage. Avenger of Zendikar. So we have 5 green for a 5/5 legendary creature elemental. When Avenger of Zendikar enters the battlefield, put a 0/1 green plant creature token onto the battlefield for each land you control. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each plant creature token you control. So you get some lands. You're going to make the tokens big, and then hopefully you attack with them to win. All right, Pitiless Plunderer. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap to sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So every time something dies, and let me assure you, lots of things are going to die, this is going to make you a treasure. We've got Genesis. So this is 4 and a green for a 4/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Genesis is in your graveyard, you may pay 2 and a green. If you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So this could potentially get you some of those things back. It's kind of an optimistic play, pie in the sky, but if nothing else, it's a 4/4 for 5, not bad. Pelucranos, 2 black-green for a legendary creature Zombie Hydra. Pelucranos enters the battlefield with 6 +1/+1 counters on it. It escapes with 12 +1/+1 counters on it if you escaped it. If damage would be dealt to Pelucranos while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove that many +1/+1 counters from it. 1 black-green, Pelucranos fights another target creature. Escape, 4 black-green, exile 6 other cards from your graveyard. So this is good because when it dies, you can use it to come back. It fights down your opponent's board, so you can clear the way to get other attackers through. It's actually really, really good. And then last but not least, you have Glissa Sunslayer, so 1 black-green for a 3/3 with First Strike and Death Touch. It is a legendary creature, Phyrexian Zombie Elf. Whenever Glissa deals combat damage to a player, choose 1. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. Destroy target enchantment. Remove up to 3 counters from target permanent. Alright, the First Strike and Death Touch makes that a very difficult thing to block, and you're probably going to get it through for the trigger. Alright, now, since lots of those creatures are going to have to attack, but I don't want to attack with all of them, I've got some ways to prevent them from attacking. Alright, so the first one, I've got Ashaya, Soul of the Wild. 3 green for a star legendary creature elemental. Ashaya, Soul of the Wild's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. Non-token creatures you control are forests in addition to their other types. This means that if, let's say I really don't want to attack with my Glissa right now, I can tap it as a forest to make mana, and now it's absolved from having to attack like Thantis says, and I can keep it on the battlefield. Alright, so it allows me to ramp, it allows me to protect my things. The other thing I have here that's going to help me protect them a little bit is Hearthull, the World Seed. So 1 black, red, green for a 6/7 legendary artifact spacecraft. So it has that station mechanic on it, and then 2 to put 2 power on it, or 2 station counters on it. 1 at tap, sacrifice a land, draw 2 cards. You may play an additional land this turn. Well, this goes great with the Gitrog monster, so the 2 of them synergize great. But if nothing else, you're just drawing cards. And then with 8+ station counter on it, flying, vigilance, haste. Whenever you sacrifice a land, each opponent loses 2 life. So let's look at it this way. I don't really want to attack with Ashaya. Maybe it's an 8/8 or a 9/9, but it would die on my opponent's blockers or some sort of effect that would kill it. I can tap it to station up the Hearthull, meaning it doesn't have to attack anymore, and I can then turn this into a thing that's going to be useful to me as we go. So, pretty useful ability to hide creatures that are going to be susceptible to combat. Now, things are going to die when I have combat, so let's talk about how I'm going to get things back. Well, I have an animate debt, so 1 and a black for an enchantment, and you can enchant a creature from a graveyard, and it comes back into play with a -1/-0 on it. So if you have a 5/5, it comes back as a 4/5, and it just comes back into play out of your graveyard. Super good, very cheap, and efficient way to bring a powerful thing back. We have a reincarnation, so 1 green with an instant. Choose target creature. When that creature dies this turn, return a creature card from its owner's graveyard to the battlefield under the control of that creature's owner. So let's pretend I'm going to play that example of I have a Shia on the battlefield and I have to attack with it. Maybe that's not a great example. Let's use the Avenger of Zendikar. I have to attack with it. I cast the reincarnation on it, and then I'm going to go get another creature back out of my graveyard. Let's just say I'm going to go get the Inferno Titan. It comes back into play. All right, so if this is going to get blocked and killed, I can go and bring something else back. And there we go. We're going to be recurring some of our value. We have Battle Again Recovery, so 2 and a green for a sorcery. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. A regrowth, but it's also an MDFC, so it's a green half land on the back. And then we have Shuldred, the Whispering one, so 5 black. It is a Praetor. She's a 6/6, and she's got Swamp Walk. At the beginning of your upkeep, you can reanimate something from a graveyard. It's pretty cool. They also have to sack things. Mine's in Italian, so I have to double check what it says, but it's a pretty gross card. Does lots of cool things. All right, now I want to draw cards to keep my hand full. And I have a problem because I'm going to be vomiting creatures onto the battlefield, and they're probably going to die. So how do I keep my hand full? Well, I've got to harmonize. 2 green, draw 3 cards. I've got Arch of Araska. So once you reach the city limit, City's Blessing, you can say pay 5 and tap, draw a card, activate it only for the City's Blessing. This is a very difficult effect to trigger, but if you need a card, sometimes you just need a card. Up the Beanstalk. A lot of my creatures are pretty big. Any spell really. So you cast any spell that's got value 5 or greater, you draw a card. All right. We have Beast Whisperer. All right. So you're gonna cast a creature, you're gonna draw a card. Okay, sounds good. Chandra Fire Artisan. This is a bit of a weird one. So 2 red for a 4 loyalty legendary planeswalker Chandra. As a static ability, whenever 1 or more loyalty counters are removed from Chandra, that deals that much damage to target opponent or planeswalker. That's not pertinent particularly. This is +1. Exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. All right, so exiling things at the top of my library to give us some ability to continue to draw cards. The -7 is exile the top 7 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. Sure, I guess. And when you take the counters off, Chandra's going to deal a lot of damage to something. I have never successfully removed the counters. I have just continued to get incremental advantage. Underrealm Lich, so 3 black-green for a 4/3 legendary creature zombie elf shaman. If you would draw a card, instead look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put 1 into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Pay 4 life. Underrealm Lich gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. So if I have to attack with this, I like the fact that it can give itself indestructible, so it's probably not going to die. It then gives me card selection. It's not true card advantage, but it does give card selection where out of the 3 cards, I can put the best one in my hand. Yes, please. We have a Return of the Wildspeaker. You go, how is that a card draw spell? Well, so the first mode is draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control. I don't have a lot of human creatures in this deck, so I can usually use this to draw cards. But sometimes, every once in a while, I can use it to pump my board and kill my opponent's dead. We have a Read the Bones, 2 and a black for a sorcery, scry 2, then draw 2, you lose 2. We have a Warden of the Cycle, 1 black, green for a 3/4 elf warlock. This is morbid. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, choose 1. You gain 2 life. I'm very rarely ever picking that. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. Since everything's attacking anyway, you're probably going to get the morbid trigger more often than not. Then we have Greater Good. So 2 green, sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power, then discard 3 cards. I've got a lot of 5, 6, 7 power creatures in this deck. You're going to be able to draw a bunch of cards with this. This is great with Phylath, where you turn some of those plant tokens into big creatures, and then you can draw a bunch of cards and then discard a couple. That's okay. You're just looking for the raw card advantage to craft your hand. And then last but not least, we have a Game Changer. We have Necropotent. So black. An enchantment. Skip your draw step. Whenever you discard a card, exile the card from your graveyard. Pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library face down, put that card into your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So this is going to make sure you draw cards, keep your hands full. You don't want to go too crazy with it, but it can be a really useful tool. All right, next, how do we make sure that we don't get run over? Because we're going to be playing creatures and things are going to die. There are going to be things we need to remove. So we have a Bedevil. Black, black, red. Destroy target artifact, creature, or planeswalker. Cool. Nice spell. All right. Bloodchief's Thirst. Single black is a sorcery, or it's got kicker 2 and a black. So we can pay 4. Destroy target creature or planeswalker with converted mana cost 2 or less. If this spell was kicked, destroy target creature or planeswalker. So if they have a mana dork, you just pay the single black, kill it dead. If you have a bigger creature, you can target it, get it killed. We have a Beast Within, 2 green, 2 and a green for a destroy target permanent. Its controller gets a 3/3 green beast creature token. Rakdos Charm, black and a red. Choose one. Exile all cards from target player's graveyard, or destroy target artifact, or each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. This is frequently the best ploy against a token deck. If you're running into a token deck and they're popping off, you can usually use this to kill it dead because they take a ton of damage. Rapid Vigor. Regenerate each creature you control, and for 1 and a green. So if you attack with a bunch of creatures and it's going to be an unprofitable attack, well, then you can regenerate your creatures so pretty handily. This is aestheticism. So 3 green, green. Creatures you control get hexproof, and then they can be regenerated. So for 1 and a green. We have a Shriek Maw. So this is 4 and a black for a 3/2 with fear. When Shriek Maw enters the battlefield under your control, destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature, and you can invoke it for 1 and a black. All right, super good card, good kill spell. We have an Ancient Grudge, so 1 and a red for an instant, destroy target artifact, and you can flash it back for a green, destroying more artifacts. Ravenous Chupacabra, 2 black, black. Ravenous Chupacabra enters the battlefield, destroy target creature and opponent controls. Then we have a Culling Ritual, so 2 black, green, sorcery. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Add black or green for each permanent destroyed this way. So if you have a deck that's got a lot of treasures or clues or mana dorks, you can probably clean them up and power out a very expensive spell. We have a Urgent Necropsy, so 2 black, green for an instant. As an additional caster cost of the spell, collect evidence X, where X is the total mana value of the permanents this spell targets. Destroy up to 1 target artifact, up to 1 target creature, up to 1 target enchantment, and up to 1 target planeswalker. So the fact that this could be a 4-for-1 is super handy, and I think a card that probably is underplayed. Super cheap as well too. And then we have Force of Vigor, so 2 green, green is an instant. If it's not your turn, you may exile a green card from your hand rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Destroy up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. Okay, we got a couple other value pieces, and then we got a sort of a fun trick at the end here. All right, so we have a Sunbird's Invocation. This is an expensive enchantment, but 5 and a red enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell from the top from your hand, reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. You may cast a card revealed this way with converted mana cost X or less without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So it's kind of like a cascade effect if you cast from your hand. Yes, please. Domri Anarchabolus, 1 red, green for a 3 loyalty planeswalker. Creatures you control get +1/+0. +1, add a red or a green. Creature spells you cast this turn can't be countered. And then -2, target creature you control fights another target creature. The +1 and the -2 are both useful abilities. The fact that you can make creature spells uncounterable is really handy at times if you really need to get something to stick. Sometimes you just need to have something get fought and to clear the way so you can attack. So super good, kind of underrated, but 3 loyalty it's worth, or 3 mana it's worth playing. Okay, Verasco Golgari Queen, so 2 black, green for a 4 loyalty legendary planeswalker. +2, you may sacrifice another permanent. If you do, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Okay, destroy target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. And then -9, you get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. So this is where you turn junk that you've got lying around that's not useful anymore into cards, or a removal spell on a planeswalker that you can deal with. Sword of Sinew and Steel. So it's a 3 loyalty, 3 mana sword. It's an equipment. Equipped creature has +2/+0 and so 2/+2 and protection from black and from red. Equipped creature deals combat damage to a player. Destroy up to 1 target planeswalker and up to 1 target artifact, and is equipped for 2. This is one of my favorite swords from the cycle of swords of X and Y. I really like this one. And then we have a Garrick Cursed Huntsman. 4 black-green for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. 0, create 2/2 black-green wolf creature tokens with when this creature dies, put a loyalty counter on each Garrick you control. -3, destroy target creature, draw a card. And -6, you get an emblem with creatures you control, get +3/+3 and have trample. So I really like this to make wolves, and then when you have to attack with them, they probably get blocked and die. And then when they do, this turns, like, you can then put that emblem onto the battlefield pretty readily, meaning that you're now have got big creatures. The last piece, we're talking about the Sylvan Scrying. We'll let you go find a land. We've also got crop rotation, which I guess is the second game changer in this list, why it's bracket 3. As additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a land. Search your library for a land card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So I've got ways to go and get up the Thespian Stage and Dark Depths combo here. So Dark Depths, if you're not familiar with it, comes into play with 10 ice counters on it and pay 3 to remove an ice counter from Dark Depths. When Dark Depths has no ice counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do, put an indestructible legendary 2020 black avatar creature token with flying named Merit Lodge into play. Thespian Stage says, tap to add colorless. 2, tap, Thespian Stage becomes a copy of target land, except it has this ability. So what happens is you have Dark Depths in play, and then you make Thespian Stage into a copy of it, and then do the legendary rule. This will you have to sacrifice one, so you'll sack the one with the counters on it. This one will read, and since it has no counters on it, it's going to turn into the Merit Lodge token, and you're going to be able to have a 2020 flying indestructible Merit Lodge. So it's kind of a fun way to get things silly and get things dead. All right, that is the deck. All right, it's kind of a fun deck. It is bracket 3 because you got those 2 game changers in it. You don't really need to have them. I have them because I think they're kind of fun and interesting. The deck plays it's not going to offend the table, although people don't generally like it because of the fact that you end up attacking and having to attack a great deal with it. But I think the deck is fun. It turns a lot of strategies sort of on their head because they have to do exactly the thing they don't really want to do and just start to attack. And I'm pretty equipped to deal with it, and I like it. So that's the deck. If you'd like to see the list, it's down in the show notes down below. You're welcome to go check it out, along with any other lists that I have highlighted here on the show. They're all available on my Moxfield. All right. If you want to hear more, you can follow me on YouTube here. So like and subscribe. It makes life a whole lot easier. And we've got add some new followers here in 2026. We'd like to get up to 100 here before too far into the year. I would need some help to do that. So if you like what you hear and you like the Commander content, let me know. Also, if you want to hear our podcast, then you can check it out, the link down below to our podcast. We will probably be rebranding it here shortly, but it'll be the same content, just different name. All right? Anyway, that's Bruce from the Epic Experiment. Wishing you well on this fine afternoon, and I will talk to all you good people again soon. Thanks very much. Peace.